The CW Twin Cities presents See What's Now, your entertainment news source.
Hey everybody, John Foss, CW Twin Cities, and I'm extremely excited because we have a very special guest here today, Miss America, Cara Mund. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me.
So you have the title that only one person in the world can have. Yesterday at the press conference, Justin Timberlake is like, hey, Miss America.
Okay, we're going to go to a special guest. We have Miss America here, Cara Mund.
Yes. Hello.
Hi, Miss America.
Hi. It's an honor to be here.
Nobody else in the world can have that name. What is that like to have that title?
Yeah, so I'm hitting almost 5 months now as Miss America, and I think it just feels like a dream. And I don't think it's really hit me. And when people address me as Miss America, I still look for someone else. And so it just kind of proved that, you know, throughout my life, I could make my dream come true.
Definitely.
And for some reason, I just didn't think that I'd be able to do it or be able to have that title. But when you embody those qualities, you can easily become whatever it is that you hope to be.
All right, so my dream of winning Mr. America, it can happen, right?
Oh, it can. It can, you know.
All right.
I really went into Miss America as the underdog, but I had worked hard and I knew that I had those capabilities and ended up walking away as the winner.
Yeah, and the first person ever from North Dakota, what does that mean to you?
Yes. Well, up to that point, we only had 3 women ever make it into the top 10. And so when I got to Miss America, my goal was to make history. And I thought maybe, you know, it would be top 10. I'd be number 4. And so when we got down to the final 5, it didn't matter to me if I was 4th runner-up or the winner. I came there and did what I wanted to do. And it was a moment where I know all those young girls that were, you know, when I watched Miss America the first time, I was 5 years old. And, you know, looking up and saying, because she did it, I can do it too.
Very cool. And you're here for the Super Bowl, and there's a lot of cool events going on. And yesterday, like I mentioned, Justin Timberlake press conference, you got to ask a question, which was very cool. First of all, tell me about that exchange, and then second of all, what are some of the other experiences that you've had since winning Miss America?
Yes. Well, I mean, each day is different and opportunities that I never was able to expect before. But it was really exciting to get called on and be able to ask Justin a question. And then they said, we have a special guest, Miss America. And at that moment, I was like, you got to play cool. You got to play cool.
Yeah.
So as a public figure and as someone all of us look up to, I'm curious who your inspiration was. And I know during this time, it's not always easy. And so who is it that keeps you going?
I mean, my family, I would have to say. I think anyone here who's a mother or father would probably agree with me that it's like life before that. You know, I made the joke the other day that my wife and I kind of look at each other when we finally get our son to bed and we have a couple of, you know, a few hours free to ourselves. We were like, what did we do before this? Like, did we go out? Like, did we go to dinner? And so yeah, I think now more than ever, I think my son and my wife and you know, my mom has always been a big grounding force in my life, and now, you know, to have a family and to think about how my son will live in this world. I think that's probably the biggest factor.
So it really showed how important family is, and I think, you know, in a position that he's at, it's great to show that, you know, not only is he a celebrity, but he's also a family man.
Yeah, and I'm sure 5 years ago, having Justin Timberlake say hi, Miss America, to you probably wasn't on your radar.
Oh no, I think 6 months ago, there's no way that would have been on my radar.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so like I mentioned, Super Bowl is in town this week. That's why you're here. But more specifically, tell me what you're doing while you're here.
Yes, so I'm here with the Taste of the NFL, a nonprofit organization founded right here in Minneapolis in '92. And, you know, over the years, they've raised over $25 million to help, you know, eliminate hunger in our nation. And that's about 200 million meals that they've been able to provide. And so what they do is we do a big event called Party with a Purpose, and they bring in top chefs and players from each of the 32 NFL cities, and they raise money and donate it back to those food banks. And so to help eliminate hunger. So not only do we get to celebrate the Super Bowl, we also get to make a difference.
That's great.
Yeah.
And you have, for your age, just an extremely vast and very impressive resume already. You've interned for one of the senators of North Dakota, and you're looking to law school now. You have a very bright future. So right now you're Miss America. Is there ever a chance that you're going to be president of America?
I don't know. I mean, now at this point, the sky's the limit, and that's what I keep telling myself. But I am very fortunate to be where I am, but I always remind myself that for the one resume of the accomplishments I had, there's 3 other resumes of things that I never got. And so I was always persistent, and I think that's one thing is I hope in my generation I see a female president. I don't know if it'll be me, but I hope that we are able to increase the number of women in our government, be able to have equal representation.
Definitely. And would you start by maybe governor of North Dakota? Is that on the radar at all?
Yes, that's
Okay.
what I would love to be.
Okay.
The first female governor of the state of North Dakota. And right now within the state, we match the national statistic of only 20% women being represented. And so I think you just need to have someone step into that position and just kind of lead the way. And so even if it's not me to be the first one, if we can get someone in there.
And you were also recently at the State of the Union address. Tell me about that experience.
I was. I mean, I never expected at 24 years old to be an invited guest at the State of the Union. And it was amazing. And I just remind myself that it doesn't matter if you agree with the politics of the president or not. This is the future of America. And we need to be in that discussion to be able to be heard. And that's something I'm really passionate about, is making sure that every person's voice is heard and making sure that I'm well educated on what's going on, because we aren't able to make a difference unless we know how to get there and the steps of our past.
Definitely. How does Miss America empower women, the organization?
Yes, well, Miss America gives women a platform to stand on and a microphone from which to be heard. And we've never had a female president, vice president, or chief justice of the Supreme Court. But we have had Miss Americas out there advocating for causes. And, you know, just giving us this ability to be able to go out, be at the State of the Union, be at the Super Bowl, advocate for personal platform. Mine's the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I also serve as a National Goodwill Ambassador for the Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And I would have never had these opportunities had it not been for Miss America. Additionally, we're also the largest scholarship provider for women. And so through my years of involvement, I've earned nearly $100,000 to fund my education. And so that's really important to me, was because when I started, I wasn't sure how I would be able to afford an education at Brown. And I didn't know, do I walk away from my dream school because of a financial concern? But because of Miss America, I didn't have to do it.
And during your time as Miss America, one of the biggest topics culturally has been the Me Too movement. What has that meant to you, and what do you think about that?
Yes, I think it's great. The movement's about empowering women. And we're really fortunate. Our new chairman and CEO is Gretchen Carlson. So someone that's, you know, been very passionate about the movement and kind of a trailblazer as well. And so to be able to serve as the face of the organization during this political climate, it's an honor. And, you know, I feel big responsibility, but I know that I'm ready for it.
That's great. And you mentioned that you have had a long history with the Make-A-Wish Foundation and raised almost $80,000. Tell me about your experience with that in the past and what you're doing today.
Yes, so my involvement started when I was just 13. I had 2 classmates that were battling cancer.
I was mainly just watching cartoons on the couch. But, I mean, you're changing the world, so.
No, but at the time, I mean, I didn't realize what I was doing or the impact it would have. And my friend passed away on my 14th birthday, and at her funeral, all memorials went to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. And so I saw the impact it had. I didn't know much about Make-A-Wish, but the other friend was in the wish granting process. And so I thought, well, what can I do to help make this wish come true sooner? North Dakota didn't have enough funding to make it happen immediately, so I started a charity fashion show. Like I said, had no idea that it would become an annual event that's, you know, still flourishing 10 years later. And it's impacted the lives of 23 North Dakota Wish kids, and you just realize that age isn't a factor when it comes to making a difference.
That's awesome. Great work there. And you're, as we mentioned, you're from North Dakota, so obviously very close. And I've heard that you're friends with Brianna Drevelo, who is Miss Minnesota.
Yes.
Tell me about that relationship and just kind of the experience working with her and being in pageants with her throughout the years.
Yes, so I met her when she competed at Miss Minnesota, and then when she became Miss Minnesota, I knew we'd get to go to Miss America together.
You were actually at the Miss Minnesota crowning, weren't you?
Yes, I was. So I got to see her dream come true, which was really exciting. And when you're at Miss America, it's a 2-week-long, competition. And so you spend a lot of time with these women, and you realize, their passions, that they're the top of the top from their state. And so it's not very often that you get to say, I can go to any state and meet one of the most influential women within the state.
Yeah.
And so Brianna and I are fairly close just because we are, right next to each other. But, I walked away with Miss America not only with the title, but with, 50 new friendships. And those are what's going to last a lifetime.
That's cool. And we mentioned you're here because the Super Bowl's in town. Everything's going on right here. This is kind of like the heart of America at this moment. But even though you grew up close to here, you're not a Vikings fan, right?
Well, I was a Vikings fan.
Okay, so they're in your top 5 at least, right?
They're in my top 5,
Okay.
yes. So I was a Vikings fan like middle school, high school, and then I actually went to high school with Carson Wentz. And so quarterback, Philadelphia Eagles, so I like to support the hometown boy, but at the same time I always have a soft spot for the underdog. And so for the Vikings-Eagles game, I couldn't pick a team at that point because I thought whoever it is that gets to go play the Patriots, it's a big deal. And I keep thinking this is the year of the underdog. This is the year that North Dakota got their first Miss America, and hopefully the year that a team gets their first Super Bowl championship.
Have you bought one of those underdog masks?
Oh, no.
You don't have one? That's a great way to get away, Everybody's like, hey, Miss America, Miss America. You throw on the Eagles underdog mask, nobody knows who you are,
Oh, that's so true.
But so you must have had like the best high school football team ever. Carson Wentz is your quarterback. Could people tell that this guy is going to the NFL at that point?
Yes, he was athletic. He was also in basketball, and so we didn't know if he was going to become a basketball star, if he was going to become a football star. But what's amazing is that you do those high school senior superlatives, and he was voted most likely to become a professional athlete, and I was voted most likely to become Miss America. And
wow.
so,
are you serious?
Yeah,
no way.
yeah.
Wow.
So even at a time when we didn't necessarily believe in our dreams or didn't think we'd be able to accomplish it, our peers always did. And so that was something that I saw him get drafted into the NFL, and I thought, okay, well, if he can do it, I can do it too. And that's the same inspiration I want to have to all those young girls and young boys throughout our nation as Miss America.
Cool. Well, a lot of people will never have the opportunity that you've had, but is there any chance with me sitting this close I could try on the tiara?
Oh, well, you got to win it to wear it. I know.
I'm never going to get to wear it. Oh, that's too bad. All right. Well, Cara, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it. Congratulations on Miss America, and we're looking forward to seeing you this week here in the Twin Cities.
Thank you.
Thank you very
so
much.
much.